Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. We are doing a Q&A today. And okay. So, yes, we haven't done a Q&A in a while, and I know how much everyone enjoys just throwing their questions at me. We've gotten a ton of questions. I got a ton of good feedback in the comment sections, and I wanted to make sure that we give everybody the time and the attention they need to answer their specific questions on their various workers' compensation issues. So that's why we're here today. Thank you for joining. I know my voice sounds a little bit not good, but I'm a little under the weather. So that being said, I'm still happy to be here. So I plucked a couple of great questions out of the comments, and I want to address those. And as we're going at those questions, I'm going to I see that you guys are popping in here. Brooklyn 1420 is popping in. Robin is here, and I will answer your questions as well. So let's start over here with this question. Let me just get my camera set up. This is a great question. And average weekly wage is one of my favorite things to discuss because it sounds like it's black and white. It sounds like it's just figure out the numbers and move on. But there's a lot of flexibility here and a lot of room to be creative if you do things right and maximize people's money. So many lawyers just go in there and take the number and divide by 52, and they don't really pay attention. And if you really focus on what the numbers are and what they mean, you can maximize dollar value here. So does average weekly wage include overtime? Absolutely. Absolutely. And people don't always understand that. There's a lot of people that will come in and they'll say, yeah, I earn $52,000 a year. And I'll say, okay, you earn $1,000 a week. They say, yeah. And I say, okay, great. And then all of a sudden they'll say, but I work 80 hours a week and get paid overtime. Well, you need to tell me those things because it's based upon your gross weekly salary before taxes for the 1 year leading up to your accident. So if you are working significant overtime, I want to know about it. And I want to see it on your pay stubs. I want to see it on your tax returns because we can get that included. And when your average weekly wage goes up, your compensation rate goes up and it gets you more money. It's super important. So it absolutely includes overtime. It's supposed to include tips. And it's so hard because it's kind of fallen by the wayside in recent years where they really don't consider tips for people who earn tips. But if you can show it on your taxes and you're earning tips, more power to you. It includes things like apartments, living. What's the word I'm looking for? It includes an apartment. If you're a super in a building and you're given a free apartment, that gets included in your average weekly wage. So any type of benefit that you're getting from your employer that your employer is paying for potentially can be included in your average weekly wage. The higher your average weekly wage, the higher your rate of compensation. So we see it with supers all the time. And it's funny how the employer, we'll go to court and we'll say, well, this person was earning $1,000 a week as his salary, and he also got a free apartment. And the judge will say, well, insurance company, please produce some documentation as to the value of that apartment. And all of a sudden, these New York City apartments, which are renting for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, are worth peanuts. Oh, it's just a super's apartment. That thing goes for like $150 a month. Bull. What we do is we'll pull some comps from similar apartments in the same line in the building, same size, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, whatever it might be. And we can get that average weekly wage bumped up pretty high when you include things like apartments, food, things like that. So make sure you factor all those things in. So it's not just overtime, but yeah, it's big time stuff, and you don't want to forget about it. Stipends, Sai says. Stipends, that's a tongue twister. Stipends, Sai says. He's right. All those things are included. The stipend thing, we do see it from time to time, not so often, but yes, if you're giving us stipend for food or something like that, then they can continue, they can add that into your average weekly wage, bringing your average weekly wage up, bringing your rate of compensation up, bringing the value of your final settlement up, getting you more money. And it's not that we're cheating anybody out of this money. Let me fix that high. It's money that you're entitled to because you got hurt. And these are the things that need to be included and factored into your case and your settlement. So don't forget about it, folks. Oh, did I skip one? Nope. Will going back to work hurt my workers' compensation case? Now, this is the question that started it all for me, okay? This is the question that this is the topic that got me going when it comes to speaking to people about workers' compensation, explaining workers' compensation rights and benefits and the pros and the cons and the ups and the downs. This was my talking point whenever I gave a speech in front of a crowd of people or a group of people or an organization or a committee or any place I was asked to speak. This is where this is my origin story right here. Well, going back to work hurt my workers' compensation case. And I used to always tell people, going back to work will not cut off. Well, I'm sorry. I gotta get my head straight here. I've had too much coffee today. You can still get workers' compensation after you go back to work. And this is the old SLU story. And we've gone over it here 100 different times. If you go back to work and you have a schedulable injury, you are still entitled to get the money for the schedule. And the sooner you go back to work, potentially the more money you will get overall when your case is finished. Now, what does that all mean? What's it mean, sir? Well, what does it mean? If you have a schedulable injury, you have a shoulder injury, you have a foot injury, the value of that injury is based upon the level of your schedulable permanent disability. It's a dollar value. If you have a 10% disability to a shoulder, you're entitled to 31.2 weeks of benefits. If your benefits are $1,000 a week, that shoulder injury is worth $31,200. It's a hard number. It's a finite number that you could figure out. And if you are out of work and you're getting compensated for your lost time at whatever rate, when that scheduled loss of use case comes to an end point, the insurance company is going to take credit for all those payments of compensation they made to you while you're out of work. The longer you're out of work, the more money you get for being out of work, the more money that they're going to take credit for in the end. Because in the end, it's going to add up to $31,200. It's going to add up to that final sum, whether you took a long time off of work or a short time off of work. So how do you get more money by going back to work sooner? Because you're going back to work. And when you go back to work, you're making your full salary, not 2/3 of your salary, which is what workers' compensation is paying. You're getting your full salary, and the insurance company is not taking credit for that full salary. So the week of October 6th, if you went back to work, you got paid your full salary, as opposed to being out of work that week where they're going to take credit. You're getting more money in the end. You're making your salary, and they're not taking credit for lost time payments. So not only does going back to work potentially not hurt your case, it could help your case. It could put more money in your pocket. Second, staying out of work unnecessarily is unnecessary. It doesn't help you because your medical records show the severity and the significance of your injuries. Staying out of work for a long period of time, longer than your injury would otherwise require, just makes you look bad. So it actually hurts your case. You get hurt, you get your treatment, you get better, and you go back to work as soon as you're able to go back. And that's the best thing you can do. And you go back as soon as you can. You're back making your salary. You don't want to be on workers' compensation for the rest of your life. You want to get through this and move on. And unfortunately, there's some certain people that really can't because their injuries are that severe. But if you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can get back to work, you want to go back to work. You don't want to be stuck in the system forever. So staying out of work unnecessarily, staying out of work for a long period of time, not going back to work, are all bad things. As soon as you're able to go back, you go back, and that's what you want to do. Is it true? Stendhal is the proprietor of questions. He's always got good questions. Is it true that surveillance will get worse as you get closer to receiving your settlement award? Now, there's a lot of questions on this question. And when you say settlement award, are we talking about a Section 32? Are we talking about a stipulated award? What exactly are we talking about? But generally speaking, if you're reaching those settlement stages, let's preface it with this. Anything is possible when it comes to surveillance. No holds barred. I've seen them do some crazy things, and it is what it is. They're allowed to put surveillance on you. If they feel like they're going to get you, they're going to get you. And you really can't do it. But if you're reaching a point where you're negotiating numbers and you've reached a settlement agreement and you're waiting for a Section 32 to be implemented and approved by a judge, if you're at those final stages, generally speaking, everyone's kind of made their position. And I would say that surveillance would probably back off a little bit. They would probably take it away because they don't need to anymore. But you never know. So always be careful. That's really what it comes down to. Probably they're reducing surveillance, probably they're eliminating surveillance, but you never know. Always be careful. Because if the settlement is a $100,000 settlement and they might be able to catch you doing something that's going to nullify that settlement, then they might do that. So you always have to be careful. I'm not saying to lie. I'm not saying to be deceitful or less than honest, but be careful. That's really what it comes down to. What happens when you see the workers' compensation medical doctor and he says your injury is not work-related? So if you're at the beginning stages of a case and you're sent and the insurance company is denying your case, they're controverting your claim, and you go see the insurance company doctor for that first evaluation, and he says that your injury is not work-related, what happens? Well, your case proceeds down the trial path. We litigate, we prosecute your claim, and we push your case in front of the judge. And if the insurance company maintains its controversy, if they continue to say that your injuries are not work-related and they're not accepting the case, and this doctor, their doctor says that it's not work-related, and you want to keep fighting the fight, and we're here for you, that's what we do. We fight the fight. And what the next step would probably be is the judge is going to set your case down. If they're controverting your whole case, the judge is going to set down your testimony, any employer witnesses, and medical witnesses. So the IME doctor is going to be set for testimony. Your doctor is going to be set for testimony. And we get to cross-examine their doctor. And what do we like to do there? And we've talked about this before, and I've had clients do exactly this just this week. But we ask you to make notes and make comments and tell us what happened at that IME. Did anything catch your attention? Was anything odd? Did anything, did look at the report? Does the report say something that you don't agree with? Did the doctor tell you to walk on your heels and toes and you're going to say he never actually asked you to do that? Whatever it is, make notes. Make notes, put them in on a piece of paper, write them in the margins of that report, send it to me so that when we do take that doctor's testimony, we have some ammunition there and we can go after that doctor. So that's them saying your injury is not work related, at least here in New York State. I don't know how other states operate. I'm sure there's differences all across the board in the 50 states. But here in New York, if you're prosecuting that claim and if you're choosing to move forward with it and their doctor says that you don't have a work related injury, your case moves to the next step, and most likely we're going to take testimony from that doctor. Can you get light duty work while on workers' compensation? Yes, you can. And this is the same thing as returning to work. Returning to work means returning to work, whether it's full duty or light duty. And if you could only do light duty, you might still be entitled to get workers' compensation benefits. What do we call it, folks? I heard you. Reduced earnings. These are reduced earnings benefits. And this is where having an attorney is super important, because we kind of know how to figure out the best way to get you those reduced earnings benefits while you're out of work at reduced earnings. Make sure you keep track of all of your earnings during that period of time, pay stubs, tax returns, things like that. But yes, you are still entitled to benefits. Potentially, there is no black or white here. There's a lot of gray area, but yes, you could still be entitled to get workers' compensation benefits while you're working light duty. You must make sure, you notify the insurance company and you notify the board and your attorney. But yes, absolutely. Great question. Losing teeth, another good one. Is losing teeth a non-scheduled case? If it's a front tooth, can you get a permanent facial disfigurement award? Yes and yes. Injuries to the face, mouth, jaw, teeth are non-scheduled cases. So you're compensated for your lost time and your degree of disability while you're out of work. If there is any permanent deficit after you heal up and it impacts your ability to earn wages down the road, you might be entitled to a permanent injury award. But it's a non-scheduled type case. If you lose teeth, chip teeth, break teeth, lose teeth, whatever, get dentures, anything that causes any permanent facial disfigurement is compensable and you would be entitled to a facial award. So yes. No flicks. I can't even read that. Endeavor District. I have an old workers' compensation case. My injuries have worsened. What are my options? Another fantastic question. What are your options? It really depends on how your case was closed. Was it closed with a Section 32? Was it closed with a stipulation? Was it closed by a judge's decision finding permanent disability? How was the case closed? We need to know how it was closed so we can decide what we could do to reopen it. If it was closed with a Section 32, you might be SOL, as they say. We know what that means. But depending on how that case was closed, we need to know how it was closed so we can figure out how we can open it and how we can do more with it. But if your injuries have worsened, sometimes you do have the ability to reopen and to seek additional benefits, whether it's a reclassification of a non-schedule award, whether it's a worsening of a schedule site and getting the schedule rescinded and getting the additional treatment that you need and then getting rescheduled. It could be a lot of different things. But again, if it's a Section 32, you might be SOL, shit out of luck, as they say. Wyoming, do you think insurance companies use AI to profile their clients? And you know what? This question is great because I don't know the answer. But if I had to give you an answer, I'd say yeah. Insurance companies are going to use any tool they can to find information to potentially benefit them, and whether that's profiling your clients with AI or what have you. When Facebook and Instagram and what was the early one, MySpace, were first coming out, people were like, "Well, they're going to go on my MySpace," and no, they would never do that. Why the hell would they do it? Guess what? They did it, and the Facebook. Oh, bring it in. Facebook has become as big a tool for defense firms as anything else. Because, yeah, they go on it. And not just in the workers' compensation world, they do it across the board. Catherine has been working on this lovely social media. It's not official? No, because you still have a misspelling in here that I noted. But we're doing our social media warning. Well, I'm not warning you to avoid my social media, mind you. Our social media is the best. Hey. But this is a social media warning that we put up. And what does it say? Do not post to any social media websites regarding your accident, injuries, or case. If you have already posted on the internet, do not delete the post. Simply print out a copy for us so we know what we're talking about. Examples. Change on Facebook. Change your profile to private. Do not accept friend requests from strangers. I know we love getting those followers up, but it might not be the best thing for you. Twitter. Do not tweet regarding your injuries or activities which are limited in performing. Excuse me. Instagram, be careful of being tagged in photos which could compromise your claim. Or just don't do things that could compromise your claim. And YouTube, vacation videos can be shared privately, so only make it public if absolutely necessary, which it should never be necessary because no one except you and your Aunt Tilly give two poops about what you did. Keep it in mind. They're going to use things that if they can use it to benefit them and to put a dent in your case, they're going to do it the same way you would do it in the other direction. If you could find a way to find something to your advantage, like listening to Rex's great videos, those are to your advantage to help you get a leg up on the insurance company. You're going to do it because you're doing it now. I see you doing it. I see you. So yes. And that's why I wanted to get to that one. Let's see what questions we got coming in. Oh, Catherine. It's Catherine's anniversary in the office today. She's very happy to be here for, what have you been here now?
8 years.
18 years?
Now I'm the water.
Thank you. Everyone say congratulations, Catherine. 8 years of me here. Robin Simmons, hi Rex and everyone. How hard is it to change your PMMD? PM, nighttime doctor? Pain management doctor? Folks, here's my disclaimer, and I should have gotten to this earlier. I am on a tad of Dayquil right now, dealing with this head cold that has come right back around. So I'm a little, those of you in New York with any Italian background would know the origin of this word. I'm a little stunad today. Yeah, so is Catherine. Jeez, see that? Anyway, pain management doctor. I've had the same one for 4 years. I've asked for baclofen, muscle relaxer, muscle reactors. I don't take any other script meds. He tells me to the ortho doctor. He tells me to have the ortho doctor write it for me, but I don't see that doctor anymore. You know, you got to be careful with medications, and you got to be careful with who's recommending them and why, because they're a big red flag on the insurance company side of things. When they see medications being prescribed, when they see expensive medications being prescribed, they're going to keep an extra keen eye peeled on your case. Also, they're super expensive when it comes for MSA purposes. And when it makes it into the notes that I've recommended or I've prescribed baclofen because that's what the client asked me for, it doesn't always look that good. Have a little sit down with your doctor. If you need the medication and you both agree on it, get the prescriptions you need, but just be careful with prescriptions. They kind of they have a negative connotation sometimes. And I'm not saying that you don't need it and you shouldn't be taking it, but talk to the doctor. I mean, your pain management doctor, I don't know why he doesn't want to authorize it, but maybe you need to make a visit to see the orthopedist potentially. Yeah, prescriptions, slippery slope, so be very careful. Brooklyn 1, 420. You missed my call yesterday. I'm sorry. Give me a call today, or I'll give you a call tomorrow. Let's talk. Hi, just listening. I hope you're enjoying what you're listening to. Bubakar Slim. Hi, the insurance company appealed my check for benefits. How long does it take? It depends on what type of appeal. And are you in New York, first of all? As you know, I can only answer New York questions. But it depends. And what are they really appealing? Are they appealing a medical issue, a compensability issue? There's a lot of different questions here I need the answer to. Titus, I'm waiting for the insurance lawyer to call me on an informal negotiation session. Okay, good. That sounds like a good start. What do we got here? Nurse Laura from Michigan got TBO while working workers' comp and auto. It was deemed my fault. Can a third-party claim hurt my workers' compensation case? Multiple injuries, back, knees broken. Okay. Now you're in Michigan. I'm in New York. In New York, no. A third-party case does not hurt your workers' compensation case. Actually helps it in a lot of ways. So I don't know the laws in Michigan, and I don't know exactly how to answer that question. Do you have a lawyer? That's really the biggest question I have there. So do you have a lawyer, and have you asked your lawyer that question? Because they're in the best position to answer it. But hopefully you're getting out of this bad place and you're just going to start feeling better soon. I see they added mental health for NYC. Yeah, that's been a little thing that they've been doing now. Mental health cases have been around forever and ever. How they're handling them has slowly evolved over time. And most recently, I don't know how much of an evolution it is, more so than highlighting what the availability is to treatment and to bring a case. But yeah, that's there. Callahan, Big Tom Callahan's son. Good afternoon, Mr. Rex. I received this week a letter from the Workers' Compensation Board confirming that my medical treatment are denied by the insurance carrier. Even I'm close to sign my Section 32, which and this is all due respect in the world, but you've been asking questions about a Section 32 that's upcoming, and I was under the impression that your papers were signed and submitted, and now you're saying that you're not signed. This has been going on for weeks, and you have all these questions. Who is your lawyer? You got to sit down with your lawyer and ask them all these questions. They know your case. I don't know your case. And all I have is the information that you're giving me. And up until now, I thought your 32 was in the works. You were just waiting for a hearing. And now you're telling me you haven't even signed it yet. So I don't know how to answer that question. Sigma 79. Hi, Rex. Thanks for the info. Do you have an email address? Call the office if you have any questions. Probably the easiest way. 212-406-8989. Keith from California had his cheek swab test on September 19th. My internist exam on September 4th. I'm waiting for both reports to confirm ALS from chemical exposure. Yes, Keith, I remember speaking with you last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping for the best for you. I was thinking about your situation. I hoping for the best, man, because that's just a shit thing to have. Frank, what if you have a second job? I'm sorry, I can't even read. What if you have a second job, but the second job is part-time, 3 days a week, but had it for years? Would this still be considered? Yes. Concurrent employment. You're asking about concurrent employment. In New York State, we have concurrent employment. So if you're hurt on one job and you're also concurrently employed, if you work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, if you moonlight, if you like I said before, home health aides will work for multiple different agencies or different accounts. If you're a lawyer by day and a bartender by night, if you have 2 jobs at 2 different places doing the same thing, if you have more than one job, the average weekly wage of all those jobs should be considered together in figuring out your compensation rate. So if you have a second job, a second part-time job, 3 days a week, as long as you worked within the week or two leading up to that accident date at the second job, you should be good to go. If you haven't been there in 3 months, that's a different story. But a week or two, you're covered. Get the concurrent employment in there. Make sure your boss knows about, make sure your lawyer knows about it the same way your lawyer should know about the overtime that we discussed earlier. So Callahan, if I leave my medical benefits open, does it affect the award of my Section 32? Probably. They're looking to settle your case and be done with your case forever and ever for a sum of money. And if you're telling me, well, I'm going to keep my medical open, well, they're probably going to give you less money. Again, these are questions for your lawyer. You're asking. I understand the motivation here. It sounds like you have a very involved, in-depth case here, and you're giving me, little tidbits of info and asking my opinion. I can't answer those questions because I don't know enough about your case. And it sounds like your case is at a point where you and your lawyer are into it. You need to just take the time and sit down. These questions, you should write them out and go to your lawyer's office, sit down. And we do this all the time with our clients. And let's go through your questions. Let's answer your questions. McFly, what if you've been hurt and out of work for 3 years? Workers' compensation has dragged me through the mud. I'm having Medicaid to fix my back, my shoulders, bilateral numbness, my hands, my neck. First judge said they are on the hook for everything. Then they took me to court and the judge said, under careful scrutiny, Mr. Johnson seems agitated. He's not a reliable witness. Have you ever lifted anything and tore your spine, neck, and not used your back? Okay, so McFly, the doctor looked at me in the chair. Now I'm having my injuries treated by Medicaid. I'm wondering what I'm going to do from here. I can't take out the garbage. A lot of questions for you, McFly. Is it a New York case? It sounds like you've litigated it. Did you win? Did you lose? Is it on appeal? There's so many questions here that I don't even know where to start. Do you have a lawyer on your case? Sounds like you certainly need one, or you need a consultation with one, because again, I don't know what state you're at. I don't know what state you're in and what state you're at. So to answer those two questions, is this a New York case? Let me know. Titus, I'm getting ready to negotiate my settlement figures with the insurance lawyer. I have an approved MSA of $214,500. I had spinal fusion that made my problem worse. In constant chronic pain. There's got to be more to that question. I don't see it. I don't see. I don't understand what the question is. Daniel, how much does a herniated disc settle for an 18% disability rating? An 18% disability rating, if you're talking in New York State, you've been found to have an 18% loss of wage earning capacity. It gets you 250 weeks of compensation at an 18% rate. So it's 18% of 2/3 subject to the statutory minimum. That's to answer more, to give you a more accurate answer, I would need to know date of accident, average weekly wage, a lot of information. Most importantly, do you have a lawyer, and have you spoken to your lawyer about this? Because they have that information. They should be able to answer those questions for you. Luch, middle of my workers' compensation case right now. Coincidence that my lawyer is hearing October 16th and insurance finally responds to have their first doctor appointment on that same date. Don't look into it too deeply. I can't begin to tell you how many times we've had IMEs fall on the same date as hearings. Nothing you can do. I don't think anybody's trying to screw you over by doing it that way. Call the carrier, let them know. Usually the carrier doesn't even know. You call the IME vendor and you tell them, hey, I have a hearing that day. I can't go. You got to reschedule my hearing. And they usually do it. I'm him. What happens after an employer is in violation of Section 120? I was wrongfully terminated, made my employer reinstate reinstate back to job position. Can I sue my employer for wrongful termination in New York State? Potentially. That's a labor law issue, not a workers' compensation issue. I would make sure you speak to a labor law attorney about that. If you need help finding one, we know of a few. Give me a call here. Otherwise, call your local bar association. There's some great labor law attorneys out there. Oh my God, Jasmine Singleton. Hi, can my weekly payments be reduced even if I can't return to work unless I'm 100% as the job policy states? Yes, if the insurance company finds a partial, if your doctor finds a partial, there are circumstances where that can happen, and it stinks. But like we said earlier in the initial Q&A section, if you can go back to work, even if you're doing something different or doing a modified duty, absolutely try to do it because it benefits you overall. Josello, I have Sedgwick as my carrier. Do not like them at all. I got hurt in April and had hip replacement surgery on July 31st. They denied PT and anesthesia. How can they approve surgery and deny therapy? It depends. How can they do it? Usually when they do it, they give you a reason for it. If you look at the denial letter, it's probably on there explaining how they came to that conclusion. But yes, I've seen it happen for a million different reasons. And usually, since the two things go hand in hand, we're usually successful getting the denial ultimately approved. What's the relationship between Medicare set aside and Section 32? The Medicare set aside is the amount of money set aside from your Section 32 to pay for your future medical care as outlined by Medicare. That's really the answer. Medicare set aside is the value of the future medical and present dollar value in your workers' compensation Section 32 settlement. So Josello is from New York. What was your question before, Josello? Sedgwick. If they're denying your treatment, there was a PAR request, level 1, level 2, level 3, denial. You should, in that denial, they should outline exactly how your the basis of their denial, and you should discuss that with your doctor so they can respond or re-request and try to get something done. So McFly, I tore my spine, neck, shoulder, bilateral. I can't feel a quarter or a dime in my pocket. I can't feel my face. McFly, you're messed up, and you're in Virginia. Cap, sorry, just want to get your attention. You got my attention. McFly, listen, one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite movies. So you got me, brother. Virginia, I don't know the answer to that question. Do you have a lawyer on your case? Have you asked them these questions? I don't know Virginia law, so I want to. Can you please read my comments, sir? Please, appreciate your chat. Listen, I got to get to them. So yes, make sure you have a lawyer. Make sure you consult with your lawyer. I don't know Virginia law, so I can't answer the question. And if you don't have a lawyer and you need help finding one, I don't know if we know anybody in Virginia. We might. But also, if you call your local county bar association, hey, I have a workers' comp case. I have an issue. I need help. Help me find a lawyer. And 9 times out of 10, they can help you do that. A. Franco, can you work after some time has passed if medically retired from work-related injury in California? I don't know. I know we work with some great attorneys in California that can answer this question. And if you need help and you want me to hook you up with them, give me a call, 212-406-8989. 2-level fusion, low back, and 2-level fusion, cervical, spine, impairment rating, out of work since the accident. What's your question? What is your impairment rating? I don't know. Oh, Catherine, you got a congratulations from a person who goes by complete system failure. So congratulations. And T. Robinson, she's coming in for this one.
I'm sorry?
I was saying that you got congratulations, Catherine, from a person who goes by complete system failure.
Oh,
You must feel so blessed. And T. Robinson gives you a congratulations as well.
Thank you. It's been an ordeal.
Yeah. Hi, Rex. I'm glad I found you. I'm a 36-year-old registered nurse who was attacked by a patient in March, resulting in post-concussive syndrome, neck, shoulder, and back injuries and PTSD. Happens a lot. We have a few clients that have been through similar circumstances. You're 100% Sicilian? Me too, my friend. I'm 50% Sicilian. What am I thinking? I reported the injury immediately and was treated by the employer's medical providers and completed 6 weeks of therapy that the insurer paid for. I was placed on light duty. That was never scheduled to work. Despite months of emails to HR, I hired legal counsel, and in mid-July, after the insurance that I'm in back pay, and then since the insurers accepted that it happened at work. Great. Crazy HR. Man, you guys write volumes. My neurologist has me on complete disability, but I have not received any wage payments for more than 7 months. I'm 36 weeks pregnant with twins when it rains, it pours, and have insurers schedule IMEs on October 22nd and 23rd, mediation on December 16th. My average weekly wage was $2,000, placed me in Pennsylvania's compensation cap rate. Given this information, I'm going to stop you here because it's Pennsylvania. I don't know. I don't practice in Pennsylvania. We know some great attorneys in Pennsylvania, but I'm not one of them. Give me a call. I can help you if you need help finding an attorney because I simply don't know the answer to that question. But I'm glad I found you too, Crazy Char. And congratulations on the twins. That's awesome. All right, what do we got over here? Do visits to my doctor delay my agreement on Section 32? You haven't signed the papers yet. You not signing the papers delays the agreement of your Section 32. So I wouldn't worry about the doctor so much. Much more gooder. You know what? You're getting a gold star just for having such a, I love that name. What's happening out there? The loons are getting, what is happening? Somebody's head. I hear them talking smack. Don't upset the big dog. Anyway, much more good. Rex, the comp doctor told me on record that there was no alternatives to a certain procedure. In reality, there was an alternative, the preferred treatment with better outcomes, but it would cost comp more. How would you approach getting your client approval for this treatment? Well, I mean, if the doctor, when you say the comp doctor, I'm assuming you're talking about the IME doctor. I don't really care what the IME doctor has to say into that set of circumstances. I care what you and your doctor want to do. If your doctor's requesting a particular treatment and we can try to get it authorized, we're going to push for it. If that's what you want, that's what we do. Sigma. My phone is off. I can't afford phone payments. I'm a client of where'd you go? Where did you go? I don't know. All right, Butterfly. What happens when MMI is reached regarding weekly payments? Does the insurance company offer a settlement, or do weekly payments continue based on disability rating? Could be both. Provided that you're out of work and you're working at reduced earnings and all issues of attachment and things like that have been satisfied, potentially your weekly payments would continue and you start working on getting a disability rating and settling your case. So, it could be both. Vicky Brown, AMA guidelines for MMI is difficult to follow and understand. In New York State, we don't use the AMA guidelines. We use the Workers' Compensation Board medical treatment guidelines for determining permanent impairment. Every state's different. And sometimes you get these doctors who start testifying and you say, Doc, you found all these findings. Is that pursuant to the Workers' Comp guidelines in New York State? No, those are AMA guidelines. That's great. We don't use AMA guidelines. Every state is different. That's what I'm trying to say. So when people say, I'm in Wyoming and I have a question, or I'm in Virginia and I have a question, or I'm in California, I don't know the answer. That's why it's important to find a lawyer in your area. And we do know lawyers in a lot of different areas that can help. It's important that you find one that you like and you trust. What happens if an insurance company never offers a settlement? Your case continues, litigation continues, and it runs its course in front of the judge. There are some insurance companies, like we've said in the past, that don't settle cases. There are certain insurance companies that have put all settlements on hold. There are certain insurance companies that just don't want to talk settlement. Nobody's forced to settle a case. A settlement is an amicable action on both sides. So it's hard to say, if they don't want to settle, don't settle. You can't force them. Can't force anybody to do anything. Can I force James Gregory to ask a question? Yes. If a judge assigns a high temporary partial disability rating after the doctors have completed the C4.3 forms and depositions, how long does it take to get a final award issue? It takes as long as it takes to litigate the case. So it's not so much the temporary partial rating doesn't necessarily dictate how long it takes. It takes the time it takes to litigate that case. Do you have a lawyer? Did you ask your lawyer these questions? Because those are lawyer questions. Those are questions I get from my clients. If you don't have a lawyer and you need some help and you have some questions, feel free to give me a call. I'll try to do my best to help you out. And my number is 212-406-8989. Much More Gooder has a New Jersey case. We also have great attorney friends in New Jersey that can help you. Much More Gooder if you don't have anybody. 212-406-8989. Insurance is offering $100K for high-grade rotator cuff tear and lumbar cyst and nerve pain, chronic pain for 2 years. What is reasonable to expect for offers? I don't know. Are we in New York State? What's your average weekly wage? What's your lost time looking like? A lot of questions. These are the sit down with my lawyer and ask them questions. That's where that would go. I'm him. My benefits were cut in half due to not seeing a doctor in 90 days. There it is. Cut in half. You're lucky they weren't suspended completely. I have multiple injuries. I received ratings for non-scheduled wrist, 10% of the arm, 10 of the hip, 20 of the head. Head's a non-scheduled site. 100% level 3 brain injury, concussion symptoms. You got messed up. Make sure you see your doctor once every 90 days. McFly, I appreciate you taking time to do this. I just don't trust my attorney, but I can't change now because I have to pay both. I don't know how it works in New York, in Virginia. In New York, if you switch lawyers, it doesn't cost you more. The lawyers share the fee. So you don't, I don't know how it works in your state, but here it doesn't impact you negatively. You can change lawyers. Hi, Rex. Susie B, your lives are spot on. I'm New York, 5 years in, just reached MMI settled, percentage day of hearing, experienced all numerous surveillance fraud, appealed, 2 years LMA, and now 100 weeks because it dragged out. How much are comp lawyers capped charges? One total charge or charges for each hearing? It depends. If you go to a hearing and we get you retroactive money, if we get back money paid to you, the judge will usually award a 15% fee of any retroactive money. If we get continuing awards paid to you, let's say the judge authorizes payments at $600 per week, we usually get 1/3 of one payment just for that portion of it. So if we got you $10,000 in retro and we got you $600 a week moving forward, the judge is going to award us $1,500 on the retro plus $200 a week on the continuing payments. Our attorney's fee would be $1,700 for that particular hearing. And then when the next hearing comes up, if we're successful in getting your money continued, we get 1/3 of one payment. If a case is classified, if we get you classified with a permanent partial disability, the attorney's fees are 15 times one payment. So if we classify you, if we're successful in getting you classified at $1,000 a week, the attorney's fee is going to be $15,000, and it's going to be deducted out of your weekly checks a little bit at a time. However, and the judge will go through this with you, and you get paid. Your lawyer gets paid that much. On Section 32s and schedules and STIPs and things like that, you get the attorney gets 15% of any indemnity benefits that are awarded, any money moving in indemnity. And that's generally how workers' compensation attorneys' fees are awarded here in New York State. Like I said, if you go to the board's website, it's explained there. It's Section 24. It's all laid out, and your lawyer should explain it to you as well when you sign your retainer with them. Eric Flores has Safe as his carrier. I'm going to take just a couple more here because I am running out of fuel, folks. I'm going to have knee surgery. Do you know if I will get paid more? Right now they're paying me. If it's New York State, you should get. Your benefits should bump up to the total rate of compensation in New York State once you have surgery if you're being paid at a partial rate. So potentially, yes. Folks, Keith from California, thanks for always answering my questions. I'm speaking through a Dynavox laptop, and you should come to California and be a workers' comp. Hey, man, maybe. I'm not a huge California fan. I'm a New York guy. I know. I'm happy the Dodgers are doing well. A little happy. I'm a New York guy. And there's some great California lawyers out there, and we work closely with a bunch of them. So I let them do that work. But thank you for the kind words. Eric, hi from Oregon. Hello, my friend. Folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. The throat and the sinuses are getting, I don't know if it's like allergies or what. I'm just getting the snot kicked out of me with all this stuff lately. But I'm sorry I started late. We had a client in here and I wanted to give as much attention as I possibly could. And if you guys have any questions, always feel free to post them in the comments. If you like what you're hearing here, please like and subscribe. I try to answer all the questions in the comments of the specific videos when I can. If you have questions about your case, if you need help, if you're looking for a lawyer, please give me a call, 212-406-8989. And with that, folks, I thank you so much for your time. Next week, coming to you, the 15th. How's the 15th? Wednesday, the 15th. 6 days from now, 4 p.m. Mark it on your calendars. Wednesday, the 15th, 4 p.m. Sai, you got me, my brother? You're in there somewhere. Thank you, folks. And Wednesday 4, there he is. Boom. We will see you then. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great day. Bye.